We'll have 10 minutes of question and answer to any of the candidates, which will be really great. And so 8:15, the library is like out of here by 8:30, so I will need everybody to help me push the chairs back where they belong and get out of here by 8:30. Does that sound like a plan?
Yes.
All right, awesome. All right, so this first thing that's going on is, I'm going to read this. On September 12th, a closed hearing will be held with expert witnesses related to the pandemic response and COVID-19 shots. We are in need of citizens' feedback related to impacts from the COVID-19 shots. It would be ideal to secure data collection before September 12th, but please do so send any time. Please see the attached survey. It is voluntary, but every response will make a difference. We are requesting your prompt response, so please feel free to share this. So what it is it's a form for reporting COVID mRNA shot adverse effects. Lots of people, our friends or family, other people in your relatives have been damaged, either vaccine injured, have been gotten sick, or died in the hospitals, some other things. So if you have a situation where you have a family member, yourself, other people that you know, if you would give us information on maybe how many people, a sex and age, adverse effects, the estimated year of their shots, and total shots if you knew they got 2 or 3 or 4 boosters or whatever. They want to bring this information, the adverse effects that has happened, to the medical subcommittee that's going to be, medical affairs committee that'll be talking on Tuesday, so that they don't try to do any of this stuff to us again. So that paperwork is up on that table, so if you have any of that, please, we would love all your help getting that back to us. So I think some of our members are going to go up there on Tuesday and talk to the subcommittee. So, all right, Scott, your turn. We're going to talk about election integrity.
Okay, folks, I'm not a public speaker. I'll do my best.
Got a good shirt though.
Yeah, love my shirt. Okay, I'll tell you real quick about me. I'm a software developer, database administrator, and my latest is data warehouse. So I've been in IT for 20-something years, and I've seen a lot of things happen. And I got involved. I got involved a couple years ago with election integrity, where groups kind of formed and they all battled each other. It was really odd. And we think we'd all want to move in the same direction, but it was in this voter data and protect it, find the people that are trying to work against you and everything. And that's not what we're doing here in Greenville County. I actually I'm in touch with folks at where we have about 46 counties that are communicating, which is kind of big. We're watching the election boards, so we're going to those meetings, checking on what those boards are doing, communicating amongst ourselves. I'm in a group that is based out of Lexington that has done a lot of election integrity work. They're kind of the last group standing, and I'm volunteering with them, as well as I'm the chair of election integrity in Greenville County GOP. So what we've done so far is we had our first meeting, so I'm looking for more people to join in. I think there was about 20 folks that were in that list originally, but fortunately, there's a lot of things going on in the GOP. I mean, there's medical freedom, there's our taxes got raised unnecessarily, we've got a group for that, and we've got a legislative group, election integrity, there's probably some I haven't even mentioned. But, so it's very busy and there's a lot of meetings going on, so I only had one. But what we've done so far, we have the state's data loaded from 2021, about October 2021. So we can look at this data that's out there and these registrations that are totally false. 10 people at the same address, or the same address having different names and whatnot. So looking into that, and what I want to do for the precincts, I talked with Yvonne. I'm going to offer the election integrity group is going to offer help to any precinct that wants to load data and analyze it. So I can help you with using EDA. It's a election data analyzer. It's a little spreadsheet that was created to look at where your problem people could be, and then what you want to do with that data is report that to the county. Conway, as a matter of fact, that's who I would report it to, but I can work with people on doing that. But yeah, load up. I can teach you how to get the data. It doesn't come from a GOP. It's data you can get, any one of you can buy for your precincts. It's $25 actually, about $25 to $35 for everybody. Everyone in this room, if you want that data, you can go get it. And you can get for $25, it's going to be $25 for all of us in this room. You can get not only the voter rolls, but you can get the how people voted for the last couple of elections, which is huge. And again, we're looking for folks that should not be on the voter rolls. For example, when one list I'm looking for is people that have gone on to jury duty, gotten a list for jury duty because they get the jury duty list from the voter rolls, and then was excused from it. Not excused for a reason, but excused because they don't qualify. That means that those folks got on the voter rolls because of motor voter, most likely. And so someone goes in and they get an ID, they get sucked into motor voter, they're on the voter rolls, so they're legit as far as voting, but they get pulled into pulled into being a juror, and they can't because they're not allowed. They're either not a citizen, a non-citizen, or something like that. So these are the kind of things we're looking for. These weird anomalies where people are registered, you go to that address and it's a vacant lot, things like that. It has happened, it does happen, it's real. And this is how our elections can be flipped. You know, our Greenville County was pretty clean when we looked at it. I have to admit, it was pretty clean. But the problem is, all they got to do is, some bad actors, they can just inch it up a little bit, and flip elections that way. So that's what we're looking at. I'm looking for volunteers, anyone that's interested. Again, I'll support all the precincts in Greenville County, or anyone that reaches out to me that wants to load the data, look at it. I'll help you with that. And I'm going to give you my email address. I don't have it written down anywhere, but it's pretty simple. It's my name, Scott A. Geer @outlook.com. It's SCOTTAGEER @outlook.com. And I will answer anybody that has election integrity questions. So, anyway, does anyone have a question? I don't want to take too much time, but if anyone has anything they want to bring up or ask me,
how do you get the $25 list of the
I
precinct?
can help you with that.
Okay.
Just email me and I'll tell you exactly how.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
thanks.
really simple.
Okay.
It would seem more difficult, but it's definitely not. You do have to be a registered voter here in Greenville County to get it, so that's the first step.
Not a problem.
I didn't think so.
Scott,
Yes.
I received information today that Berkeley County, Lexington County, Spartanburg County are putting forth resolutions at the next meeting to remove all machines from our state elections and replace them with paper ballots only. So if you would like, I can put you into contact with them.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, well, you know Linda
Yeah.
Shar, she's on top of it. So.
Yeah, so that's the other thing we're pushing, and thank you
You're
for
welcome.
the reminder. We're pushing for hand-marked, hand-counted paper ballots.
Yes.
And I've seen
Yes.
evidence of how to do this. I mean, you don't just have a stack there and you're counting it and put it, mark it on a piece of paper. There is a method, there's an absolute perfect method where what do they call those machines, the scanners? Those are not involved. People are hand counting them, but they're doing it with a camera over the ballots with two computers and these, I want to say devices, they're these big buttons like, the big, help button or something like that. These big buttons to help you count. And I can't describe, you have to see the video to understand it, but there's going to be some demonstrations done. Actually, there's going to be train the trainer, so folks within Greenville County GOP know about this when they're asked. But definitely that is one of the goals. And my email here of all the things we're looking into is so small, and it's really hard to read. But yeah, we want to data warehouse data coming into the GOP, meaning that when we go canvass, we want to pull that in locally and be able to be able to maintain that. You know, if someone, let's say a precinct goes out and they canvass and they have some information, we want to promote the precincts to go ahead and hand us that data so we can suck it into the GOP and make better decisions down the road with people to reach out to. Like, for example, right now, who should we be reaching out to? Well, Democrats. They're mad. And we should be reaching out to them and try to flip them over to Republicans. And we've got to know who is out there, who is leaning, who has voted Republican maybe once or twice and might flip Democrat. So, all right, anyway.
And a question here, Scott.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
So just run your email.
Oh, Scott, it's my name, Scott, my middle initial A, and then Geer, G-E-E-R, @outlook.com.
Oh, Scott A.
Scott
Yeah.
A. Gear, G-E.
Yeah, gotta have an A in there.
Oh, I thought it was Scott. I can't see it on my voice.
Not EA, yeah, SCOTTAGEER @outlook.com. So hopefully you've all like memorized that now, so. Yeah, so as far as, we're looking at data warehousing, that's something I have expertise in. Train the trainer on demoing, hand counting. We're going to be, this is with another group I'm involved with, but they want to start pushing like bumper stickers and stuff out for hand counting, you know, and just get people aware of what we can do hand counting, that it can be done, that it shouldn't all be done by these machines. And something that you all should know about, that when your ballot is scanned, you read your ballot and you go, oh yes, it's correct, yeah, I voted. But the problem is, unless you can read barcode, and I guarantee you none of you can, you don't know what's on your ballot. You simply don't. So, and that's not a dig at Conway or our election folks or whatnot. That's just facts. That barcode, at the very least, needs to get removed. I'm also looking for volunteers for election watchers for every election coming up, every primary, everything. So we need election watchers. We also need poll workers, and so I have a team that is recruiting poll workers as well. And the person that in charge of it is doing it for the county as well. So it kind of works out. You'd be talking to the exact person to sign up to be a poll worker. So, all right. Well, hey, I don't want to take too much time. Anything else? I mean, it's a topic that I'm very much involved in. But yeah.
Are you reaching out, or are you kind of in the loop with the, I guess, more contested areas that you've seen in the last election, those states where they tried to do something similar? Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, I was part of a group. That was the original group I was with. I had in touch with a couple people over in Arizona, but I kind of, like I said, it kind of fizzed out because all the infighting. So I'm aware of, you know, problems in Arizona where they had machines that just wouldn't work. In fact, the ballots were printed with the wrong size, so the scanners couldn't scan them in. And these were in largely Republican areas. So, oh yeah, it's disgusting actually. So we need to get the paper ballots, we need to get the hand counting. Until we do that, we will always be in a position of having to, well, we're always gonna have to watch our elections, that's a given.
Yep.
But right now, you can watch it all you want, but you've got all sorts of things coming in, you know. It's, when they tell you that the systems aren't online, that the poll, I forget the name of the poll machine, but the poll machines aren't online, that there's no network connectivity, that's not true. I work with polls and we set up a Wi-Fi, and it is definitely connected. So we have, when you look up a person to see if they're in the precinct and whatnot, that is an online voter roll that you're looking at. So, okay, well anyway, I appreciate your time and looking forward to anyone that wants to volunteer, please reach out to me. I'll put you to work, so, all right.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you all for coming here. I thought prayer, somehow we jumped ahead.
Yes.
I was gonna ask Harrison if you would lead us in a push prayer, just to get us off to a better start.
I think my voice carries well enough. Lord, we thank you for this evening. Lord, we thank you for this day that you made. Lord, we thank you for our free country that you've given us to live in. But Lord, we know that you told us that faith without action is dead. So tonight, Lord, give us your wisdom, give us your strength to put action with our faith concerning our city, concerning our state, and concerning our country. And we thank you, Lord, that you, our Creator, have given us certain inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of that happiness. And Lord, help us, fill us with your wisdom, strength, power, and favor to keep it that way. In Jesus' name we pray these things. Amen.
Amen.
So I'm Mike Bowden, I'm the third vice chair. I used to be the state EC, and much like Jeff, I got thrown out of my first meeting.
Badge of honor.
So
Yeah, that's right, badge of honor.
I spent most of my life, just living my life and not really involved in politics. And so for the last 3 years, I've got a crash course in this, like many that are here today. And we're all here for a number of reasons, and I thought maybe it'd be worth going through that because it might explain why we're making such a large drive to build the 10,000 army of voters that are informed and that want to have a voice in the primaries, so that we can take Greenville back to being red, real red.
Amen.
So this kind of struck me, I saw it today, so that this is, the schools in terms of how free speech is at their university campuses. And I really, if you think about the fact that our state legislation and our state administrative is for the most part a super majority red, Republican. But yet, we can't seem to get a really strong abortion bill through. We haven't been able to get a real integrity bill done on voting. We still got the machines, we still have error. And you gotta attack these county to county. When they do the legislation these days, it's very, sounds really good, doesn't have any teeth in it. It doesn't really change the dynamics of anything. When you look at the tax increase that happened in Greenville County, from my personal perspective, I feel like there were a minimum of 5 councilmen that did this.
That's correct.
They did not listen to people, didn't care what the people had to say, they didn't care what the platform said. The mission that we have is really driven by the platform. I've really been digging into that. It's why we're involved in medical freedom as well, because it's one of our basic rights. It's on the platform. And the last time that the Supreme Court even ruled on something like this, they said people's sovereign human body is absolutely theirs. So there is plenty in our Constitution and Supreme Court rulings that support the fact that they can't take away our rights, they can't put stuff in us, they can't mask us up, not if we have a Constitution. So I don't know that we do. I don't know that we're fighting to save our republic or we're fighting to restore it. But I feel it's more of restoring, because we really have lost a lot of it. We had us inching forward. And you go through a lot of these different things. We've got many Republicans that have said that the election in 2020 was clean. A lot of Republicans that swear up and down the 2022 race in Arizona was clean, despite all the evidence against that. Now, if you're a Republican and your Republican president lost, and there's a good chance there was malfeasance and foreign interference, you would think there'd be some Republicans standing up and fighting, right?
You would think.
Not in this state.
That's right.
So I don't have anything against, our legislators here that are trying to do the good work and stay on the platform and fight for it. But there's a lot that aren't, because if we have a supermajority and we can't get simple things that the majority of the population want passed, we have a problem. We're off this platform. So that's why we're pushing really hard here. So this is there's a lot of stuff we're all finding as we get into this, where to find information. So zip data maps. I spent 11 hours while my wife drove us down to Florida on this thing. And you can just point and click on every one of those precincts that are in Greenville County, all 151. It'll pop up and tell you how many Republicans, how many independents, and how many Democrats voted in the last election. And it's a really cool tool, because I was thinking, we want to get to 10,000 new voters, Republican members, that will be informed and believe in the platform and go to the polls and vote, particularly during primaries. For those of our representatives that do good work and are very conservative, will get you reelected. For those that aren't, we're gonna primary out. It's not a threat. It's a fact. Our job is to support that platform. Our job is to protect each other. And this country's going, we all know it, it's going to hell. If we don't do it now, it's going to be gone. So this is where we make our stand. And so we want to get to 10,000. So we went through this and I said, okay, how do I do this fairly? And so I'll give you an example of how that works. So these are all 12 zones. So what I did is I went and clicked and picked off how many Republican voters in each county, so Simpsonville 1, for instance, and I wrote it down. And I went to 2, and I went all the way across until I did all 151, and I knew how many Republican voters there were in each precinct. Then I added them all up, and then I put them into the zones, and then I added those all up, and I came up with what percentage of the 10,000 each zone needed to get to. And then over the last weekend, I drilled it all the way down to the precinct one. And so if I sound like I'm not really sharp right now, it's because my brain is dry.
Yes, for sure.
But it's important to get this, because you can't get anywhere if you don't know where you're going. And if you can see it, you can taste it, you can get there. So what we've done is we've drilled it down, so you've got 12 zones, so you can see that zone 1 has to get 1,200. Zone 2, 1,000, and so on and so forth, until they all add up to 12,000. And they're based on the number of Republican voters in those zones.
10,000 is the number.
It was nice and round, and most of the primaries, they don't get more than 7,000 or 8,000 voters. And so we wanted to make sure that we had enough voters that no matter if there was an anomaly in the turnout, we'd still have enough to be able to have a voice in who is going to represent us in the general election.
Yes.
Because it's the primaries that matter more than anything else, because right now, in so many cases, and I'm not saying in all cases, but in so many cases, we have the opposite side of 2 points. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people in government right now that are pushing towards globalism.
That's
into
right.
a larger government, and that's just a fact. And so we can't tell the difference, so we need to find, that's the other thing, while we're trying to get all these people on board, we also got to find ourselves some candidates that are real patriots, that want to run for office for the purposes of serving their fellow men and women, not to serve donors, not to serve the larger group that says, hey, come on in, this is the way we do it.
That's right.
We need people to come in and do what's right.
By voting for county council, folks. Yes. He ain't saying it, but I am.
So this is what a zone would look like, okay? In fact, why don't we do 4, and since 4 and 6 are here. So this is 4, and you can see that Bell Crossing, based on the fact that they have 1,527 Rs, they get 83 because they're X percent of that.
They need 83 more, right? They need 83 new.
Yeah, they need to get 83
New.
Republicans.
Yeah.
So now, you're not just getting a number and say, go out there. I do have a script that I sent out to all the zones that you can use or not use. But generally, if you're going to do door knocking, if you're going to go in that direction, which is a good way to go, if you know your neighbor, then you can just have a conversation because you know what they think and you know what they believe. If it's a neighbor you don't know, you start by asking the questions. How do you feel about the country? How do you feel about the city? How do you feel about things in general? What's going on? Let them tell you. And then from there, you can give them information and try to engage them. The idea is to, first of all, get them to become voters in primaries. Second thing is to get their information. Yes?
Can you tell us what a zone is? I know my precinct, my ward, I don't know what a zone is.
A zone is something new, and it's not something the Greenville County GOP voted on. It is something that we put out there as a tool for precincts to come together as larger groups. And we try to set those zones up in such a way that they intersect in school boards, they intersect in city government, so that you have people that have the same issues or the same races, they can come together in precincts. The 2 years previous to this, while we were very involved and we had a very large group, we weren't very organized, and we didn't really get a lot done that we could have gotten done, other than really getting ourselves set up for the next 2 years. Prior to that, there was a much smaller group of people involved in the GP in Greenville, and most of it was around just raising money. It's fundraising. But we think people are more important than money.
Right.
Yes.
If we have enough people, we don't need money. You know, so I don't want this to be a business. And the board doesn't want it that way. We want, really what we want to see is people coming together to run their government. If it's going to be we the people, then get up and stand up and
That's
and
right,
do it.
that's right.
That's how we have to do this, because it's not working the other way. It's all about money. You know, we'll raise money to help candidates that we believe in, but that's not the primary goal. The primary goal is to get good people in the government that will serve the people. So the 83 it's a number. Within that number, that Dutch Crossing may have, I don't know exactly how many, they probably have 15 to 18 delegates. So you split that among the 15, 18 delegates, and all of a sudden you have to get 5 or 6 people over the course of the next 6 to 9 months. So we get around to the June 2024 elections, we're in a very strong position. And we've been able to inform people that have disengaged from really, you know, the day-to-day political environment that we live in. I don't blame them, I'd like to just check out myself, but that's what we want to do. We want to get this back to the people. So you can see it all goes down that way. So that 1,500 represents a percentage at 17,000 that's in that zone. And that percentage is multiplied by 10,000. And that's how you get to the same increase. So it all based on numbers. So it's fair to everybody in terms of what the goal is. And you lay them out the way you want. So you can do the door knocking. It's always a great thing to do. You can have, I'm having a precinct meeting in a month. And I've asked every delegate to bring one couple. And we're going to get the R list. And I'll have Tommy come and talk about the timing and all that. But every precinct is entitled to their list, so that they've got those numbers. That gives you more ammunition to know where to go, the fish where the fish are. So that will happen as well. In fact, it's probably a good time. Tommy, where are you? Tommy's on our committee for reorg. It's myself, Jeff Davis, Joe Jones, and Tommy.
How you doing, Mike?
Hello, Tommy.
Hey. So, first off, we have a new form that we have. If you want the data, you have to fill out this form to get the data. And so, anybody can see me afterwards if they haven't already filled out. If you already filled out one before, because I was at one of the others, you don't need to have to fill out a new one.
Okay, what are people signing it for?
They're saying it's a release form from the state, because it's the state's data.
And who is gonna get these?
Anybody who,
I mean, who's gonna keep the data? Or who's gonna?
No, who's gonna get this information? Yeah, who's gonna get this information?
Seasoned presidents, basically.
These seasoned presidents, okay.
So seasoned presidents can request it. They sign the form, and it just says they're not going to sell the information, they're not going to, you know, use it for personal reasons. It's got to be for the uses of the GOP based on the platform itself.
So, and then I'll go back to what Mike was saying. So what we did, we divided up, we went from 12 zones originally to 10 regions, which if you were in last reorg, we had 10 regions. In this new reorg, we went back to the 12 zones because it fit the precincts more together and it didn't make such a big, like last year we had a region that had 25 precincts in it. Now the most, I think, the most one has 15. So it's easier to work together with 15 precincts than 25 precincts. So that's kind of why we divided up. Also, in the zone, every precinct that's in the zone touches each other. In the old regions, you had some that had other precincts in between. So you were like, had people in that region that, you know, that weren't really in your group. So to speak, or like what Mike was saying about, they didn't have the same councilman or they didn't have the same district congressman or whatever. so.
Yeah.
So that's what we try to do, we try to put that down. I'm working on a list right now, and I just looked up on the internet, what do you think the population of Greenville is today?
586,000.
Okay, I will more than agree with you.
That's what I would have thought.
It said 71,000, I said, doesn't
It
agree.
said what?
That's city.
I've seen that.
That's-
Oh, God,
that's-
okay, yeah,
that's
city
not
versus county.
city, yeah.
So that might be
The
city.
city of Greenville.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you. My database list has 358,000 names. About 2 weeks ago, or maybe less, we got a list of 5,000 voters, or 5,000 people that just moved in. So, I tried to add them to our list, but only 4,000 had a precinct with it. So the other ones, I manually have to go back and find their address, find out what precinct they're in, put them, know what zone or what precinct to put them. So it'll probably be another week before I get all that combined and merged. And then also today, one of our ladies that works in our office gave me another 125 people of the houses that were just sold recently. So I can put that in there and try to figure out who just moved out and who's moving in, so. Anyway, that's what I've been working on. I did all the zone maps, everyone should have a zone, every zone leader should have zone maps for every precinct that's in their zone. And then also they should have a precinct map for each precinct in their zone. So if you need that, your zone leader can have it, or you can contact me and I can send you that map. That's not a problem. Once you sign the data, and once the data is available, or data sheet, once the data is available, we'll send it out to all the ECs and all presidents and applicants.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
So this is really for you guys to go out there and just get together. I spoke last night with the recruitment committee, and it's tough. One of the things we talked about is that you have no idea how many races there are. I mean, we're trying to get our hands wrapped around that, and then try to make that, how to figure that out. So we're thinking that it's going to be like, Simpsonville, Fountain Inn, Greer, Greenville as a city. Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to bring up that we do have a gentleman that's on that if you want to run, you just put your name in and people will get you set up for your first day through. I mean, like what you need to know, what your filing fees are and everything. And that's fantastic. And he's with the.
He's on the committee with that McCall. So that's a good point, thank you. So we're really looking for candidates. We also are going to try to get you guys the information. So you can also talk to neighbors about the races that are coming up, when they are. I mean, it really is a lot. So trying to make this manageable and, be able to bite it off like, an elephant one bite at a time is what we're trying to do. I'm going to try to wrap up here real quick. I'm just going to put 6 up there for anyone that's in zone 6 here. They can kind of see it. Your zone leaders have this data. They can share it with you. Within the zones themselves, you guys can share with each other. That's entirely up to you. The board at the county level is not going to get involved in that. But we are here to support you guys. The body is what drives the county. The board is what supports the body. And that's what we're going to try to do. So if anybody has any needs or questions, we'll answer them the best we can. I try to give information to people the same day they ask for it. If I can't give it to them, I give them a reason why. I'm always happy about that, but we're going to follow the state rules, even the state rules. And so that's the way we're going to play it now. So that's basically all I had. I encourage you guys to have meetings. When you do have meetings, please bring them to my committee's attention or anybody in the headquarters so that we can post it on the website. We're trying to have all the events up there so you can get really good gatherings. It helps you guys get more people to show up. The next step you guys have with this is you're going to go to your delegates and say, okay, here's our numbers. You break it down into your delegates and give them a vote. And then if you guys have ideas on, at some point, maybe trying to create some sort of contest or something to make this more exciting and fun for everybody, we're open to that too. I'm sure we can find some money for that. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to clarify, the data I talked about that anyone can get, that's not the data that Mike's referring to. There's GOP data that we get for the strong Republicans, and there's information about, so GOP maintains their own database. The database I'm talking about comes from this dastardly product called ERIC. And there's about, I think about 26 states that are involved in ERIC, and ERIC is the primary reason that we have election fraud.
Because it's so fat.
No, you know what, I even asked them, here's the funny thing, I went to them directly and asked them, what's your schema? I don't want the data, I want to know, what's it designed like? And they're, oh, that's proprietary, we can't tell you.
There's a question back there?
Yeah, are our zones anywhere tied in with Greenville County, districts, like voting districts for, like, say, Greenville County districts?
No.
So do they, I mean,
There's still, the zones still have, we tried.
there's kind of.
We tried, yeah, like, I mean, like, I'm zone 4 leader, right? So, and Mike I live off of Adams Mill, and Mike lives pretty far near Five Forks, Ashton Lakes is over there, Bell's Crossing, all the way over to here. I have Simpsonville 1, 3, 5, and not everybody has the same county council or house representative. We try.
We try to get as high as we could, it's
tricky.
really hard. However, that's the reason for zones to talk to each other.
Right.
And for precincts to talk across each other. The idea is just to get us more engaged. We haven't been engaged. Just, I mean, we're trying to get some momentum, we're just trying to push. So everybody that's here, thank you for coming. You know, that's step one, right? And we're real appreciative to those representatives that have come to talk and get questions too, so.
Quick question, when you ran your numbers, did you run independent numbers?
I didn't, but I thought about adding those, but I thought, let's get this first. But in the back of my head, I was thinking the same thing, independents are gonna be real easy to get right now. And there's a fair amount of them in Greenville County. I'll actually look at it or something and do that, but give me a week.
Great question.
All right, that's all I got. If there's no more questions, thank you very much for giving me
Okay, so, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candidates that are going to run in the city, and then Gary Collins is here also, who's going to run in town council, so he's going to speak also, so we have 6 city. I have Paul Shoemaker first, Janice, and Warner, and then Chad, Tim, Aaron, and then Gary. But, Tim, I think you're gonna come up for just a few minutes and explain the ward thing. Gonna try? You can do it? So, there's this thing about the wards and all the county stuff and city stuff, so, Tim's gonna talk a few minutes about, to explain that to us, because a lot of us are really newbies about that. A few minutes on that, and then we'll start with 5 minutes on, call each person up. Okay? Did I miss anybody for candidacy? Did I call their names correctly? I didn't miss anybody, right? Okay.
I'm not a subject matter expert on wards and precincts, but one thing that I've seen and talked to people around the city, because I'm actually running for county council, city council, is that people don't know what ward they're in. They don't know what the wards mean. And in fact, in the city, you can vote in any ward or for any ward. So when the election comes up on November 7th, if you're in Ward 2, which isn't running, you can vote for 1, 3, and 5. So it's a little interesting way it works out. They're not allowed with precincts at all. Well, they're close. But I guess the thing that, to me though, is that people don't know what ward they're in. Sometimes they don't know what precinct they're in. You can go to SC government and look up your voter information, and it'll take you all the way down, but not the wards of the city. It gives you county on up, but not wards. So I encourage you to figure out what ward you're in if you don't know. And again, if you're voting in 1 through 6 precincts, you vote for everybody. So as a representative of the city, you represent everybody with their geographically located. I think just to clarify a little bit more, I think it's right. 1, 3, and 5 are on the 281 side, and 2, 4, and 6 are on the O side. if you understand, it's basically each side of the highway. So, I don't know what else I can tell you, but the important thing is, if you have people you know that are Simpsonville residents and they don't understand the wards, you can look up the ward maps, they're on the website. And in fact, this past year, they actually just changed all the ward lines. I fell victim of that myself. So if you thought you were in Ward 1, you may be in Ward 5 and vice versa. So check those things out. Yes,
Is
ma'am.
there a representative for every ward? Is that what, for
Correct.
each city?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to clarify, no matter what ward you find that you're living in, when it comes time to vote, you can vote for one candidate from each ward that's running, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so our first candidate that's running is Paul Schumacher. Come up. He is our current mayor, correct?
That's correct.
Of Simpsonville.
That is correct. I'm Mayor Paul Schumacher. I've been mayor since January 1 of 2020, so I'm in my 4th year and up for re-election this year. We've got so much good stuff going on in Simpsonville, and my main campaign thing is to keep all those good things going. If you think back to 4 years ago, I'll tell you a real quick story. I was looking at Google Street View here just recently, not anything to do with the city, but if you don't know, in some places on Street View, you can go back and look at historical pictures. And so I was going to just take it downtown and see what it looked like 4 years ago. I was stunned. The boarded up windows, the weeds. Today, we've got 100% business occupancy in downtown Simpsonville.
Yes.
Tremendous changes in how Simpsonville looks downtown. We have more murals, more art downtown. We have improved facades. If you remember how the facade looked on South Main Street there across from the ice cream station, just things like that, how much better that looks. We switched from a pawn shop on East Curtis Street to now we have Tamarindo, the restaurant with all the umbrellas hanging upside down. Just that kind of thing, just how much different it looks. And we've got more coming. We're building a new municipal complex at Simpsonville Park, okay? That is a $28 million project. We didn't raise your taxes to do that. That's all bond money. No. That you're talking about the wonderful little town of Aldine, okay? That's what I call it. If you drive past on 385, the Italian-looking place, Italian ruins, new ruins. I don't think it's a strange thing Malden is doing. That's Malden.
They're right behind Simpsonville.
Yeah. So no, this is Simpsonville City Park is, which is currently closed because we're renovating the park too. I promise you that a year and a half from now, when we reopen the park, it is going to be, absolutely gorgeous. And sprinkler systems, and new playgrounds, and a great lawn with a new stage for our summer music series. Just so much good stuff. Extension to the Swamp Rabbit Trail. We're going to take the Swamp Rabbit Trail from where it stops now, Fairview Road, all the way down to Heritage Park. Through Heritage Park to the far side, where Fountain Inn is working on their section of the trail, which will connect up on the south side there near the new high school, and go all the way down through downtown Fountain Inn. Lawrence County is wanting to get on the bandwagon with that. They're talking about connecting up to the south end of Fountain Inn. I think there's a foreseeable future where we could have a Swamp Rabbit Trail that goes from Lawrence to Simpsonville. It's really difficult to connect up to Malden because it's all private property and not suitable roads to make that connection. But if we have 20 miles of trail going south, it starts to look a lot less impossible, a lot more inevitable that we can have a really wonderful Swamp Rabbit Trail. We've got, just like I say, so much good stuff going on. Right now, it's happening right this moment, repaving East Curtis Street out past the park, out to the city limits, including putting in a traffic light there at the Vigo, okay? Very important for safety. We had a gentleman who was just killed there last year on Good Friday because of how difficult that intersection is to navigate. And in less than a month, all that repaving will be done, we'll have a new traffic light there. So, like I say, so many good things going on. I will tell you that since I've become mayor, I think things are much calmer and much more professional on our council. We have a council that has broad ways of thinking about things. But every single council member is concentrating on what's best for the city of Simpsonville. We don't always vote alike, but we always do it in a professional and calm way. I've been to 86 consecutive council meetings since I've been elected. And I banged the gavel to convene the meeting and to adjourn the meeting just those 2 times in every meeting except one. I had to bang the gavel once, and it's a little bit crazy. That doesn't mean that in my 4 years as mayor, we haven't had full council chambers on occasion. We've had people who are, coming to council meetings very concerned about topics. But it's a funny thing, when you have a council that acts professional and behaves professionally, the people in the audience act professionally and behave professionally as well. And what I like to tell people is, you can come to council meetings, you're welcome to come and make comment, but we are representing you as mayor and council members 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're available, reach out by email, call me, I answer my phone. If I can't answer my phone, it means I'm either on it or in the bathroom. Okay, I'll call you back. I promise, I always do. So, that's who I am. I again, thank you so much for inviting me to speak tonight, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 7th. You've been talking a lot tonight about getting out and voting, and it's incredibly disappointing to me that less than 10% of people vote, especially in off-cycle elections like we're having on November 7th. So the stuff you're doing to get people out and voting is really important. I'm just totally believe in that, and thank you. So thank you so much.
We got time for questions, Linda?
Yeah, we're gonna do questions.
Awesome.
Let's hear everybody talk.
And then questions,
You
okay.
have to ask, you raise your hand and ask for a specific for the person. Just I wanna make sure everybody gets to talk.
I
We use the microphone.
Okay, Janice is gonna talk.
Thank
Thank you.
Tax dollars at work. Good evening. Long before this election season began, many have graciously shared your thoughts and your concerns with me. I've approached each conversation with an open heart, a clear mind, and truly committed to understanding your worries, your ideas, your dreams, and the future for our community. We as a community have some tremendous challenges lying ahead for us. I have faced and weathered many challenges for our city in the past, and I am willing and able to do it again. While serving as your mayor from 2016 until January 2020, I and my council team brought some tremendous assets to our city, which include the beautiful Simpsonville Arts Center, the Swamp Rabbit Trail Initiative, and public restrooms in the downtown, just to name a few. I personally initiated the Palmetto Pride Cleanup Day in Simpsonville, where thousands of pounds of trash and debris were collected annually. I headed up various fundraisers for our city park projects that included a cover for our small amphitheater, a fundraiser for our sensory playground equipment for disabled children. I and my fellow council members even served up a pancake breakfast to raise funds for this playground equipment. As a leader, I feel that it is imperative to get involved in our community. I also feel that it's imperative to be accessible to the community, to be present. At present, we have some challenges to address, which I look forward to rolling up my sleeves again and facing those challenges head on. Those challenges include our traffic and flooding issues. Doing nothing is not an option. I know that I've put my heart and soul into improving Simpsonville for all. I know that I am not afraid to do the hard work for Simpsonville and stand ready to be your mayor again. I've proven that I am a capable, dedicated leader, and I look forward to serving my community once again. I therefore respectfully request your vote November 7th for Janice Curtis, proven leadership.
Warner's gonna also run for.
I'm running for mayor.
Run for mayor. Okay, Warner has a nice.
Hello, I'm Warner Bozak. I've been here, well, in the upstate since '85. I came up here to manage Finnegan's on Haywood Road. Those of you that have been around a long time, I opened Stakeout in 1991.
Yes. I ate a lot of steak out, it was good.
And ran that for about 15 years, had stores here and in Florida. Was pretty successful. I was the biggest beef account in the entire state. I sold more beef than any Ryan's, Outbacks, any of them. Sold out when my youngest was born to spend for family time. Actually took about 5 years off just to raise her. Then opened the gym where my restaurant is now, Kentucky Grill down here. Opened a gym there, and then for about 10 years, kind of part-time. And then when my youngest turned 15, I decided, and a lot of the staff that had worked for me before had been egging me to want to get back together because we've been such a family. So we opened Kentucky Grill with the manager I hired as an 18-year-old in 1992. The head cook that's there I hired, she was my very first hire in 1991. I think if you want to know anything about me, find one of the hundreds and hundreds of people in the upstate that have worked for me at any time, any of them, and ask them what they think about me. If they think that I'm wanting to help people or come out for myself, I have no real interest in trying to benefit myself over anybody ever, because I just won't be able to sleep at night. What I'm most concerned about is that we just haven't kept up with the growth. You know, we just heard the mayor take credit for a restaurant coming in where there used to be another business, and it seems to me the entrepreneurs did all of that, the one that left and the one that came in. How the mayor takes credit for it, I'm not exactly sure. You know, they've opened a lot of bars downtown, and you know, not much day business because the traffic has been so bad ever since they put in the islands. I was building my house on Main Street in '05, I think, when they put in those islands. So I was coming through town 2 or 3 times a day, coming from Stakeout to the house and seeing what was going on, going back and forth. And as soon as they started putting in those islands, I immediately had to avoid Main Street to get there. And we still have people in City Hall that think the islands are a good idea. They refuse to take them down. I've talked to people in the state, they said, if City Hall asks us to take them down, we take them down tomorrow. We don't want them there. The city wants them there. The city thinks that a downtown feel is accomplished by creating traffic jams. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. I can't get out of my neighborhood because when I go to pull out of my neighborhood on Fernwood, it's backed up because of people coming all the way from Scuffletown that have to come through our neighborhood, through Poinsettia, and through my neighborhood, and the traffic's so bad that we can't get out, can't get to the light. I sit in my restaurant, dozens, if not hundreds of people every day. I try to talk to everybody who comes through there. And everybody just says it's chaos. There was never a real plan for growth. They think they did, but they really didn't plan for the growth. And the traffic's just gotten worse and worse. And we need to get the families home with their children, with their families to supper and not sitting in traffic, not sitting downtown. If we give everybody in Simpsonville 5 or 10 more minutes with their family, that's thousands and thousands of hours of family time. What more can we do for the world than that? I mean, it's really. As an entrepreneur and a people person, I think I can help the city. I can delve into these things and find out where the problems are and help you solve them. I've never been involved in politics. I served 3 years as upstate chairman of the Friends of the NRA. I was responsible for upstate fundraising for the NRA. It was a volunteer group. We did all the membership drives. We sold all the memberships at the gun shows and at all the events that the NRA held. And we held auctions and things like that to raise funds and brought in the big donors and organized things. I served 3 years as chairman of that committee. That's the only thing I've ever done really politically. I think I can help the city. I want to help the city. I really don't want another job, but I do think I can help the city, and I want to do what I can to help, and that's the only reason I'm running.
Right?
Ward one. Yeah, and I was gonna cut like 10, you gotta figure out what's the word you're in, because I literally live in about 2 houses away from the city limits on Jonesville Road, Chad over here. My wife, before I came, she's out with my 91-year-old mother-in-law at dinner. She said, make sure you don't talk too much. I said, well, I think they're probably gonna give me a limited amount of time anyway. She She said, good, that'll be good practice, because I'm about to have a daughter getting married next month, and I'm the father of the bride, I get to give the speech. And I've already been warned heavily about speaking too much then. But I appreciate the opportunity, a little background. It's against my nature to kind of pat yourself on the back. You're running for office, you're trying to influence people, you're trying to get people to understand why you want to do what you do. I am a 8th generation South Carolinian. I was born in Greenville, raised in Poinsettia. All of my formative years were here. Every school I ever graduated from is in this county, including Furman University. I was given an opportunity to play football there, and I will never forget, as a freshman, showing up and being suited up for my pads and things like that. And Greenville News was there, and they wanted to do things on local kids, playing at Furman. And when they asked me, you know, you're from Greenville, correct? And I looked at him and I said, absolutely no, I'm from Simpsonville. Because to me, it was an absolute distinction. We are part of Greenville County, of course. But when someone asks me where I'm from, no matter where I've been in my life since I was raised here, I am from Simpsonville, South Carolina. The reason, I'll be honest with you, the reason I'm running is because of some issues I've had personally with the city. I've been on the forefront of fighting for some zoning issues with my neighborhood. I was the president of our HOA when our HOA finally was taken over by our own neighborhood versus the developers. The city pretty much, when I walked up and
Which neighborhood?
I live in Villages of Redfern, right on Jonesville Road.
I live on Jonesville Crossing.
So I'm literally the very first true house on the right as you leave town. So I walked it downtown. When we got notification that the builder wanted to finish our properties, there was just a non-distinct sign in the lobby yard. So I called, and it was just the general city hall phone number. I'm like, why am I even calling you? I don't know why I'm calling you. Well, it's a zoning thing. Well, who do I need to talk to? So I get out, I get to City Hall, I talk to one of the planners. I don't name names, I'm not like that, but I talked to one of the planners and I said, oh, this is what you want to do? No, we're not in agreement with that. Our neighborhood, because I was president of HO, but we're not in agreement with that, don't want to do it. He literally, almost verbatim, we are going to recommend this to the planning commission and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. And I am the last person you tell that to, because I'm going to try to do something about it. After that particular person gave my personal cell phone number to the developer, who called and insulted me on the phone by questioning my intelligence. I was warned by the city again, warned, that was their word, warned me not to speak of HOA issues at a planning commission meeting. And of course, I ignored that warning, and I told them exactly what was going on. The city did what they said they're gonna do. Hey, we think the developer should be able to do it. I got up and said, here's why I don't think so. We won. Yeah. Second go around with the city was not so successful. I'll be honest with you, and that's the type of person I am. I'm gonna tell you like it is. Hunter Street was closed. It was closed under in darkness. It was never an agenda item, but it was voted on in an agenda item, and a verbal vote only. We had no idea it was gonna be closed. Fault that, was told by attorneys, the only way to overturn it was give us $25,000, and we can get it done for you. So the city has won, for now. So I wanted to come and represent what I consider my native city, always will to my dying day, and do what's best for everyone possible here. The only way to do that is to represent the people that are here.
That's right.
And I would appreciate it, but I am no politician. I am a caring person. I work in healthcare, and if y'all want to hear a vaccine story, come listen to my.
Want to hear a mass story? What do you think about mass?
I still put money in the hospitals and skilled nursing. They're not making us yet. It's highly recommended. But people in the hospital are, they're still, a lot of them are still masking or have started because there's another variant now. But
are they mandating it yet?
They are not mandating it. No, I don't think they mandated it for their employees, but But they're strongly encouraging it.
Let's get some masks. They have gas in the middle of it.
That's right.
Thankfully, I had no choice than to get vaccinated. I was forced to because at the time, the government had ruled that anyone that works for an entity that takes CMS dollars, Medicare, Medicaid dollars, has to be vaccinated. Well, that got overturned later, but it was too late for me on that. Thankfully, my wife and children, all my adult children, they said no. So,
There's Dick Craig right there. She saved me from the vaccine.
God bless
This
Dick
was-
Craig.
I worked for healthcare, I fought back, healthcare insurance, I fought back, and I won.
that's what you gotta do. You got to be you got to be the voice. Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. Before we leave, but we're having a health freedom sovereignty meeting this Saturday here, same place, 9/9. So 2 days on health freedom sovereignty. We've got facts and all things to fight back and things to protect us. And it's from 10 to 12 here. All right, the next person is Tim Pinkerton, and you are Ward what? Five. Okay. Ward 5.
We met. I'm running for city council in Ward 5. So a little background. I also represent Simpsonville 3 as president. I'm also the president of HOA. We don't have an HOA, it's a Point City Community Club. So I've got a good rapport with people in my community. A little background about me. My wife and I moved here about 28 years ago. We were actually relocated here from about Florida. Might have been Florida Daniel at the time, but anyway, we moved here with our 2 children. Eventually bought a house in Point City at the 7th. My first project was in Fountain Inn, actually rebuilding the baby plant. You know where that is on 385. Went on to become the construction manager on the Bio Center, construction manager on Anderson County Library, 2 or 3 other local projects I worked on. From there, I worked in Charlotte, projects, Myrtle Beach, and then we had to do a change. I ended up going to overseas. First project was in Grand Cayman, which is a pretty good gig. I was actually building a city called Camana Bay. If you've ever been to Grand Cayman, it's right in the middle of it. Then went to UAE, and then to the Netherlands. Finally got back, repatriated, got back to the United States and went to some third world territories, Northern Virginia.
Yeah, there you go.
Maryland, New York. So that was all very interesting. My background, and the reason why I'm bringing this up as a project manager and a construction manager, is because I have a big background in building and infrastructure. And for me and for the citizens of Simpsonville, I think it's very important we have somebody with that kind of background that knows how to build, knows infrastructure, knows contracts, knows how to get the city built. It's gonna grow some more, but we do not need people as legacy builders and resume builders. We need a city that's just built for the citizens here.
Yeah.
Part of my experience with those, especially those last 3 projects, I actually worked with the outreach team. The outreach team worked with the internal and external clients to facilitate conversations with the public. Public being businesses. And I can tell you, they weren't always fun meetings for me to go to, because, as a builder, we're rocking and rolling a road or a bridge or a train through your community. People have conversations, they want to know what's going on. Most of the time, they didn't realize what was happening in the beginning. But I will say this, a lot of those meetings, although not fun, we actually were able to mitigate their concerns because we've already pre-planned what was going to happen in and around them, so that it did not interrupt what they were doing. I just bring that up because it gave me a little bit of an opportunity to hone my public speaking skills, which I've worked on forever, and it's not always great, but you do get to meet the citizens, you get to understand what their concerns are, and another reason why I'm running is because a lot of people I talk to think that the city council has checked out and they're not responsible, not being responsible, not being committed. In fact, it shows because none of the incumbents are running. So you have at least 3 new wards that will be in place. So to kind of wrap it up, first of all, what Mike said, that was a fantastic conversation. I just think that, you know, city council, the local elected officials, that's the front door of politics in America. It goes all the way up to the feds. And to get conservative, like-minded, conservative, elected representative of the people is the first thing I want to get done. I want to be able to get in there as a conservative Republican to back what the citizens need for this city. Thanks.
I guess you're gonna probably be Ward 3.
Ward 1.
Ward 1, okay.
Ward
Ward
1.
1, okay.
Good evening, and thank you all for having me. I am an English teacher, and if you will allow me to, I would like to start tonight the same way I start every class, and that's sharing an inspirational quote from some of my favorite leaders with the class, or with you tonight. And that quote today is from Sandra Day O'Connor. Do the best you can in every task, no matter how unimportant it may seem at the time. Municipal elections are the most overlooked elections in our state, and yet they're the most important elections that we have the privilege to be a part of. I believe it's our duty to do the best we can in every task, in every election, and for all of our community. And that's why I've decided to run for city council for the city of Simpsonville. I've lived in my current home with my wonderful husband, Ben, since 2015 in the heart of downtown Simpsonville, and I have 3 amazing children, 2 of which are still in our Simpsonville schools. I'm an English teacher and a local volunteer for the city of Simpsonville and my local DAR chapter. And we have such a vibrant community, and like many people before me have mentioned, we're growing. We have all this economic development going on, and those are good problems to have in our city. We want to be growing. We would rather be growing than dying. But with that growth, we need sustainability and a smart plan to handle those things, just like we've heard before about traffic, about businesses that are coming in, and building permits and things of that nature. So we need to get that growth on a smart scale. And we obviously need to be fiscally responsible about that. Once again, we know we don't want to raise taxes again to pay for those things. So one thing I'm very committed to talking about is partnering to find creative funding so that we aren't raising taxes on our citizens. So that is all I have for you today. My name is Erin Medlin. Once again, I'm running in Ward 1. And as Tim shared with you earlier today, it doesn't matter what ward you live in, you can vote for any of the candidates in any of the wards, as long as you live in the city of Simpsonville. And I welcome any questions or concerns that you would want to talk to me about. You can email me at Erin, ERIN, 4, FOR, ward1@gmail.com, or speak to me after this meeting. Thank you for your time.
For county council in Greenville in District 27.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna stand by the podium, honestly. So, my name is Gary Collins. I moved here 17 years ago I'm retired from Fort Drum, New York. I was originally born in Indiana, one of 13 kids. So a little old school, family values there. And like I said, I retired from Fort Drum, New York, 20 years in the Army, 12 years in the Air Force. Been to a lot of countries, 164 countries. And some of them were short, some of them were long. But I couldn't wait to get to South Carolina. I got here as quick as I could. So
You escaped!
I escaped from New York.
Yes, you did.
But I was stationed here for about 6 months at Fort Jackson, back probably 70 years before I retired, and I always said I'm coming back to South Carolina. I just love the weather. So I'm married to a beautiful young lady, and she's the heartbeat of my life. We're born again Christians. We go to the local church here. We're redeemed by the blood. So
Amen.
whatever you want to say, that's what we live by. Again, I have a sophomore brazier. I have an 8th grader at Malden Middle, and I have a 3rd grader at Monarch. And it's the water. And I love South Carolina water, amen? And I've got a master's degree. I cut grass for 3.5 years, so my wife and I can get a master's degree. I don't work unless I want to work. I'm a stay-at-home dad most of the time. I volunteer to drive a school bus. Forgive me and pray for me at the same time. And then substitute teacher for 24 years, so I'm in the classroom a lot. I go to a lot of these meetings where they talk numbers, and I'll tell you now, just because of the new building downtown, you have more seating here than they do.
Oh, yeah, downtown.
So I think that was planned.
Yes.
That was planned big time.
Yes, sir. So, and we all understand what's going on with the county. I've talked to a lot of people, whether we're overdeveloped. Some people say that. If you've driven down Woodruff Road after 9 o'clock on a Monday through Friday and Saturday after 11, you understand that. When he said the other 10,000 or 70,000 people, they moved in here to the Woodruff Road area. I live in the Five Forks area, and we see them every day. I drove a school bus this morning. Quick story. I come out 8:17. I was on Roper Mountain Road going left on 14. I went 1 mile in 19 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I got to go and turn left on 14 and sit at Woodruff Road for another 17 minutes just to get to Butler Road. So, and the kids got late. But anyway, we see the things that are going on in the county. I've talked to many people. I've talked to a lot of people daily. Like I said, there's some days I just go out and I walk through the grocery store with a little basket. I put a couple of things in. When I see people, I talk to them. Hey, how do you feel about the county? Oh, I don't have time. I gotta go. Sometimes, but they tell you that's where you get that most sincere answer in the grocery store. In Kohl's. Forgive me. I take my wife shopping with me when I go to Kohl's. All right? So she says, you just go do your thing. I'm over here. But that said, we all know what we need to do. And there's one thing I don't like with this state, but I'm still working with a delegation in Columbia. I do a couple Zoom calls with them. Is we're trying to get the primary set, but we're working it behind the scenes very hard. I'm not a key or role player in that, but I get a lot of questions from a couple representatives at Columbia. And the second thing is the budget, the taxes. I mean, the school board raises the taxes, the county raises the taxes, and the process they did that in, we all know how that is, okay? I'm not going to get into that. But it's got to change. I'm a fiscal conservative, then I'll be a Republican.
That's right.
All right? So the only thing I can't stand is when all these politicians come to town, everyone goes and they swoon over them just to get a photo op. I'm not the type that will get a picture with you if I don't follow the creed of the party. Because the party should disassociate with them if they do not follow the creed. And that's another thing we'll have to work on. But to me, as a fiscal conservative, then you can be a Republican.
Right.
So,
Garrett, what ward are you working for, sir?
Council 27.
Oh, are you county council 7? And who is currently that placeholder?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Tricky Bush!
And again, term limit is Butch Kirby. He's been there 20 years. But here's the deal. David took out the light.
Well, you realize Butch Kirby will be officially censured by the Greenville County GOP October the 2nd, along with the other 5 covenant breakers.
Yes, sir.
That's what they are. They broke covenant.
Okay, so we're gonna have, we have at least 20 minutes to have question and answer. So we'll have all the candidates come up here, and then you can raise your hand and ask specific people, or if you have questions, y'all will just come up here, and I'll give you a couple minutes, but we have plenty of time for people to ask questions. It's not a debate type of thing, so let's not, like, if you have a question, let's just be
respectable questions answered. I mean, I don't have a,
All right, Mom.
yeah. Thanks.
We got lots of questions.
You gotta moderate who
Okay,
gets to
all
go.
right, who was first hand? Is it?
Barbara did. Barbara had her hand up.
Barbara.
Barbara, Patty, Scott, and me.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I
I saw it, okay.
Okay.
Keep it short.
Okay.
Keep it short.
I'm getting tired going down Harrison Bridge Road, and I cannot get into CVS. I cannot get into, if I come out of there, I cannot go across because what? There's that thing in the middle of the road. Why don't we put some of those, what do you call them, those circle things? What do you call them? Roundabouts.
Who's your question directed to?
Okay, who'd be willing to fix the road like that?
We need to get our county council candidate up here.
Gary? Well,
Get up there, Gary.
no, I know that who's somebody
You
who's
can
already
take
like
questions too, come on up here, because here's why I say that. It's gonna take people on
Is that a state road?
mayor of Simpsonville to talk to SCDOT.
That's a state road?
Because that's a state road.
Well, county doesn't talk state roads either. No.
Yeah, but it's,
Well,
but
I
you can have
want
influence
some,
on
I want some roundabouts. Because that thing, I hate it. If I had four-wheel drive, I'd be going over there. I'm at a U-turn all the time.
totally in agreement with you. I'd love to see around.
Well, who is the one who told them to do it?
Well, it doesn't matter if they did it. We need to know how to fix it.
Well, contact Ross Turner. Ross Turner's your guy.
Okay.
God help you on that one. Sorry.
Well, I'll call his insurance company right now.
Okay, so,
Ross Turner.
Scott, you're gonna answer your question is?
Okay, I just want each one of you to go on record that you're going to have a dirt-free campaign.
Yes.
I want to hear you are or you're not.
Raise your hand or not?
No, I don't want to hear about somebody else's junk. I want to hear about your junk.
Okay, all of
From
you,
me. Just your stuff. I don't want to hear about anybody else.
so all of you agree?
No.
Warner saying.
I don't think they're doing a very good job, and I'm not gonna be afraid to say it. I think they've got a lot of failures, and I think they need to be more.
But when I'm talking
You're
about.
talking about personal stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
okay,
No,
I agree with that.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking about policy. I want to hear policy issues and all that. If I see the dirt come out, because I was involved in 2021, some dirt came out in a county council campaign. And I was behind the scenes making sure that it didn't happen. So if I see any of you doing that, I'm gonna get on Facebook, I'm gonna get on Twitter, you're gonna know my name. I was so upset about that I didn't even care about the candidate. I wasn't looking at the issues. I was looking at the dirt that was put on the other candidate. And it was totally false. So if I see any of you doing that, just know, Scott here, I'll be behind the scenes working it.
Patty, you were next?
Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
I have a question for Janice, since she's been around for.
I've been around.
So, could you maybe, because I'm in Simpsonville, could you maybe, give me a breakdown on like, what was crime like in 2016? You were the mayor then, right? And how has it changed since then? Crime in Simpsonville, is it different crime? Is it more crime? How is that going?
I believe that nationwide crime is
Well, I
crime.
understand what
And
nationwide.
I think that we're blessed to live in Simpsonville when it comes to our crime rates here. We are not seeing a lot of the crime that the nation is seeing right now. We didn't see it back in 2016 with all of the hoopla going on as far as people breaking into businesses or just walking into businesses and things like that. So I don't think that crime is an issue here in Simpsonville. I don't think that crime has been a big issue in Simpsonville. I believe that like any other place, you're going to have some crime, but it's usually crime to the degree of, going through your cars, things like that.
Okay, so.
You don't care about people just whacking you as you're walking down the road, knocking you down on the sidewalk.
Yes, please.
Can I absolutely right, and that we're very fortunate to live in Simpsonville, but something that you need to be aware of. 20 years ago, there were 1,300 state troopers on South Carolina highways. Today, there are 850, and those are the ones who drive a desk. Okay? Response times in Simpsonville average about 4 minutes. If you live in the unincorporated parts of Greenville County, you can count on 14 minutes. It can be 45 minutes to an hour, okay? Since I've become mayor, we've added 6 patrol officers in the city of Simpsonville. I totally support that. I am constantly pushing that we add more police officers and that we stay above the national average in the number of police officers we have. This defund the police thing is bananas. It's bananas. If you like football, you know what targeting is, right? Okay? We got rid of referees, there'd be a lot less targeting, wouldn't there? No, there'd be more targeting, there just wouldn't be any more calls for it.
I feel like I'll try to say that it is, been here forever today. When I grew up, we didn't lock doors, we walked around at night, we didn't do anything. In my neighborhood of 19 homes in the last year, we've had 3 different police incidents out there for loitering, prowling, vandalism, and it's a nice, well-traveled area. My neighbor called on Zoom camera, a couple of kids stealing from a car that unfortunately he left unlocked. So it's not a place you can just leave your doors unlocked anymore. And you know, and where I live, and a lot of the way the city is, the last response came from county. It wasn't their jurisdiction. No one even knew their jurisdiction. So when I walk outside, see lights flashing in the alleyway next to my driveway, I don't recognize, I know what a Simpsonville cruiser looks like, and it wasn't, so I'm like, who's at my house? And it's county. County got called for the person that was sitting on my neighbor's back deck at 2 in the morning, just relaxing. And so city didn't show up, county did, county showed up way late. But it's not bad here, not at all. But like you said, and I appreciate the more the merrier for me. But Simpsonville's got to get back to a feel where we might not leave our doors unlocked, but we should be able to feel like we can.
Cynthia, you're next.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for those running for mayor, Ms. Curtis, Mr. Schumacher, and Mr. Bozick. If we were told that there's a new virus, would you be, knowing what you know now, knowing what we all know now, would you be in favor of mask mandates? I guess we'll start on this side and go across.
No.
Thank you.
Absolutely not, and my mother died from the vaccine within about 2.5 weeks.
Thank you.
And my sister's had a stroke because of the vaccination.
Okay, everybody's gonna boo me when I say this, but give me a second. N95 rated masks will work. Give me a second, right? I have a degree in safety. I went around enforcing wearing masks to protect people from respiratory hazards. I tell you, it's possible to get people to wear them right. Okay? If you wear it right and you wear it all day long, this thing of, oh, you're taking off the heat and that kind of thing, all I'm saying is that it's not effective. There's no point in doing mask mandates because you cannot get people to comply with it. Even when you do it in a factory setting where you have supervisors on top of people's head all the time, it's hard to get them to wear them right. So if people won't wear them right, they don't work.
Okay, let me tell you something.
All right, next, Harrison.
All right, I'm going to follow up on that question. And Gary, my friend, this is not for you, but thank you for running against the covenant breaker, Butch Kirby. And I would like to get with you, and I know Mike Bowden would after the evening. We can help you a lot, but we definitely want to talk with you. All right, Mayor Schumacher, you are the incumbent, sir, but this question is going to go to each of you, okay? This is to follow up on Cynthia's question. If the agenda, and right now I want to let y'all know what's happening. North of Richmond, COVID hysteria has taken hold, and it's beginning to work its way down south. So when it hits Simpsonville, South Carolina, and folks, it did it once, and we'll do it again. If on our Simpsonville County Council agenda, we see a mandate for masks in the city of Simpsonville, I want a yes or no answer. will you vote yes or no for that mask mandate for the city of Simpsonville? For COVID?
Did you mean
Yes or
that the city?
If the city of, that's right, if on the agenda.
Council, I can't vote on.
Right now, I'm not talking about the county, that's why I left
But you
Gary
said
out of
county.
this.
You said county.
If on Simpsonville City Council, if the agenda comes up and the vote is for mask mandates in all public places in Simpsonville, will you vote for that mask mandate or will you vote against it? Either a yes or a no?
No.
Okay, thank you, sir.
No.
Can we have that?
And I will let y'all know that this is being recorded, isn't it, Olga? Awesome. Folks, this is very true. I want to remind y'all, this is being recorded. And if this comes up on our agenda, we'll do everything to fight it, that it doesn't come up on the agenda.
And that's what I was gonna answer you. I'm a no, and I'll do everything possible to make sure it never gets an agenda.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And so let's follow that question. Just like, will you do everything to prevent the COVID mask mandate from getting on Simpsonville city agenda? You've already said you'll vote against it. Will you vote against it getting on the agenda?
Absolutely not.
I can't imagine it's even making it to the agenda.
All right, but I hear a no here, a no here. No, Janice?
Absolutely not.
And you, ma'am? All right, so you haven't heard it. This is being recorded. It's going out live. Everyone here has said no to mask mandates in the city of Simpsonville. And we will hold you all accountable to it.
All right, Michael?
Okay, I just want to make one comment. Mayor, please come on Saturday. We'll talk about masks, we'll talk about the science of masks, we'll talk about the science of the shots. You'll learn a lot. Please come.
What's on Saturdays?
It's going to be here, it's Saturday from 10 to 12, we have a medical forum.
It's a health freedom sovereignty.
But, okay, so my question is, I live in the outskirts, right, we've got Lawrence County and Spartanburg over off East Georgia, Coachman, we're in Coachman Estates. And, you know, we don't, if I'm not armed, I'm not, the cops will never get there in time, because we don't have any city support in Lawrence County. But my question is around all the expansion, the residential expansion. So it feels like we've been finding out that these zoning commissions are all developers. I don't know what the city representatives and the county representatives can do about that, but we're growing way too fast. And Woodruff Road is, it reminds me of driving downtown Chicago in my old days. It's just horrible, especially on Saturdays and Sundays when you're trying to shop. It is the worst. It takes a really long time. The roads that we live on are, we're out in the outskirts right now, but there's two huge developments going on, probably over 2 parcels of land that are at least 80 to 100 acres. And I don't know, but lately all the new development, they're jamming these houses up on the border postage line. It's just going to create so much traffic in an area where there is none right now. That it's going to make the quality of life in Simpsonville worse. It's going to make the quality of life in the county worse. It's going to generate a lot more revenue for the county, just as it did before the village. The last 7 years, they picked up $27 million more just from the expansion, and yet they take this village fee. You know, it's not even about how much or what it is, it's why. Why are you taking the money? That's a question that we need to ask. Why do they need more money? We're not seeing the roads, we're not seeing an infrastructure. I'm more concerned with the county than the city, but I do believe that the city has influence. And I would like to see everybody here working together to try to bring some sanity to our growth. Because it's getting out of control. You can feel it, you can see it every day. Traffic's gotten way worse in 3 years.
You don't have to have a crystal ball to be able to look forward 20 years and see that the rate we're growing, 1,000 people a month moving to Greenville County, 1,000 people a month. We're going to be the next Fulton County, Atlanta. And I don't know if you've driven around in the outskirts of Fulton County. It is wall-to-wall neighborhoods, and that's what we're moving towards.
Yes.
I've been working together with the other mayors and council members from the 6 incorporated cities in the county, and working with county council, trying to get them to work together with all of us to do something to manage this explosive growth. And we cannot just keep eating up farmland and turning into residential estate communities, especially out in unincorporated areas.
Yeah,
If
more
we
price.
keep going that direction, oh, you can have that now. Oh my God.
So what do you?
That now.
And
We've got to do something.
In our HOA, the same thing, it's been turned over, and we've got 9 culverts that are, it's gonna cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because the county allows them to build in areas they have no business building. There doesn't seem to be any rules of it.
But what are we, the people, doing to get involved with those local
Let me tell you
issues?
this, as far as the county is concerned, the city is the low man of the totem pole, and they are allowing all this expansion to go on at the price of sacrificing these cities that are run to the bear, all of the traffic, all of the, flooding that we're seeing right now, everything that is being encompassed right now as far as our city is concerned. The county has no concern about that. So we need to get people on county council that are going to make a difference when it comes working with the cities, working with the developments that are going on around the city, and how it's going to impact us as city.
Well, the city has, and I was on the forefront of this because everyone knows, and I think the #1 issue for the people in the city of Simpsonville is probably exactly what you hit on, and you hit on another point. Who's on these planning commissions? Well, a person that was appointed to the planning commission, was in the neighborhood, that petitioned to have 100th Street closed, got it closed, and she's a real estate agent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what we're doing. We're closing streets that can function as, like the city wants to call it. What's the term? Drive-throughs or whatever, cut through streets. We just passed an ordinance in the city a couple of weeks ago, literally giving the police the subjectivity to determine whether you have cut through parking lots in this city and can ticket you for that because you get more complaints about cut through traffic. But every move they've made so far, closing streets, bottling up things, they do it under the guise of safety for everyone. Well, if you don't know what safety for everyone is, come to my yard 2 weeks ago when a car almost crashed into my house. I live on Jones Road. I'm not asking for road closures. I'm asking for more roads. I don't care if they're arterial roads, state roads, city roads, I don't care. They need to stay open. And this guy, I'll be first to say here, and it's on camera, this SCDOT plan that they have in place makes no sense whatsoever to counterclockwise this traffic pattern in Simpsonville. There are other ways to skin this cat. And not only have they not done anything about it, like you stated earlier, we've got items, those could be, they could start on that right now and probably be done in the morning. But they're not doing anything but stopping people from finding other ways to circumvent the traffic. It's almost like the city's telling us, we're gonna force you into the traffic because we're not gonna let you go. And my counterpart here, Ward 5, he lives in Poinsettia. They told Poinsettia, too bad, we can't do anything for you. People pass through there constantly. They only close one. We don't need to close anything. We've got to keep everything open, and we've got to watch the development because I'm not against development, but we have got to keep up because when you try to claw back later, it's awfully expensive.
Hey, does everybody know about the counterclockwise, clockwise?
No, explain it, please.
See, most people don't even know what's getting ready to happen. So I guess a little over a year ago, the city voted on an SCGOP plan, which it was two, clockwise, counterclockwise. Basically what happens is Curtis Street out to East Curtis now runs both ways. In the future, if this goes forward, if you're coming from the east, okay, you're gonna get up to a street, a lot of churches, I don't remember the name of the road, you're gonna have to take a right, yeah, Academy, you have to take a right, then a left to get to Main Street. Coming from Main Street on Curtis is gonna be one way at east. So, to the point, Poinsettia gets a lot of cuts.
That's right.
Eastview, Oakland, and Poinsettia Drive. You just go over there at 7 to 9 o'clock in the morning. It's an absolute ridiculous thing. What's gonna happen is all that traffic's gonna come in, and they're gonna cut right on through our neighborhood anyway. As it is right now, we're building the fire department and police department right across the street from Poinsettia. When the fire department has to go to Main Street, where are they going?
They're right through your neighborhood.
Right. I actually, well, they will. Because if they're gonna go out to Main Street and have to take a left, are they gonna go up and right, left?
Okay.
So, you can't do gates. To finish it up though, I actually, we had public input, I said, go the other way. I mean, I know about traffic, so if you're coming the other way, if you're gonna go one way, you can queue up a lot of people to Main Street. I looked at this, you know, when this passed, it was in the Journal, I believe, Greenville Journal. And one of the reasons from the city that they were gonna make this one way the way it was is because of the growth and development east Curtis Street. But the traffic in the morning comes from there.
That's right, too.
Right. And then they said, well, yeah, we think we have some concerns in the neighborhoods of Poinsettia. We'll address it when the time comes, or we'll see what the impacts are. That's not how you do business. If you want to know you're going to have a problem, you mitigate them beforehand. There's a simple way of doing this. You're right.
There's never been any planning.
Yeah,
They call it a master plan, long-term plan, and they've been talking the same terms ever since I've been here, 20 years. And all this happens, it's got worse and worse constantly. If they'd done something 20 years ago, we'd be in a lot better shape than that.
Lastly, though, you mentioned water, okay? I view these things sort of simply sometimes. You know, you got a house and your air conditioner goes out, you don't paint the living room, right? You fix your air conditioner. And that's the problem with the stormwater system we have here. You build a community like Poinsettia, for instance, back in the 70s. Stormwater was built, and if they were lucky at the time, somebody did a study on rainwater totals and 10-year floods and yada, 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 and added 10%, and maybe you could manage your water now. But where we are on Poinsettia now, it takes all the water from Main Street. So every time you build impervious land, and more water has to go somewhere, it's coming through pipes that were built way back a long time ago. So those are the things you need to address. I mean, if you want to build, grow, you want to keep your communities happy and growing and their property values saying you don't flood their yards.
That's right.
And those pipes.
Poinsettia gets all the water off the roof of Big Lots, off the roof of Harbor Freight. All that water comes across. And when they redid the Swamp Rabbit Trail, nobody said, hey, let's reroute this water back to the creek the other way. They left it all running straight through, the mayor's neighborhood, straight through Poinsettia. So that's why all that flooding occurs back there, is because it's getting all the water off the parking lots, the roofs, everything, that shopping center, it all comes across, South Street floods, it floods over the railroad tracks, it floods into Keith Withers' Florist, is now a barber shop, and then it goes from there over into, what's your neighborhood called? Chancellor's Park, then it goes into Chancellor's Park just through a little bit of, Cedar Cove and then into Poinsettia. But all that water's coming all the way from, almost from the highway.
Yeah, so the thing is if you're gonna plan to build, you have to do environmental impact study or some kind of study to see what you're gonna impact and mitigate those problems before they happen.
All right, so, we're kind of done for questions, so what we're gonna do is, and this, we're gonna have another one of these, Tuesday, October 17th, we'll all let you know again, it's gonna be here again, oh no, I'm sorry, is that Clear Spring Baptist Church, 200 people. So, if you guys will talk there, that would be great, we'll try to, it'll be a bigger place, and it'll be a little longer, like 6 to 9, we'll let you all know, I hope you all will attend, and, we'll let everybody else know through the zone leadership and through GOP or GreenvilleGOP.com on events. And again, if any of you would stay, a few of you guys will help me just put the chairs back. And we have to just be out of this room by 8:30. So if anybody wants to hang out, I should thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.